Okay, so this is our review, and this week we are going to be reviewing overcalls. That's what we covered in our class last week. Next week, we only have one more class of actual material to cover, and we'll cover takeout doubles in the next class, along with another kind of double called a negative double. So we'll learn two new uses of doubles next week. But this week, we're kind of setting the stage for it by talking about overcalls. Overcalls are what you make if the opponents have opened the bidding. So we've been talking so far in this class about the opening bidder being the first person to bid at the table. And we haven't even had other people involved in the bidding. It's just been bidding between you and your partner. But now, with this half of the class, we're adding the opponents because most of the time, when you're at the bridge table, when you're playing a hand, both sides are bidding. So we need to learn what is different when both sides bid and what changes. Some people, and you probably to this point, when you've been playing to practice online or with friends, have probably not been changing the bidding much. You've probably been leaving it that if the opening person needed 13 points to open and you were the next person to bid and you wanted to bid, you would require yourself to have 13 points also. So one way to play is just to leave both sides' rules pretty much the same. But that's not what we do when we're really playing, the official rules of bridge. When we're playing the standard bridge that most people play, when one person has opened the bidding, that is not a reason for you not to bid. As a matter of fact, we want to find a reason to get into the bidding. And there's a lot of reasons to get into the bidding, even if the opponents have opened. And the first one is just because the opponents have opened, that's only 13 points. There's still 27 more points floating around out there that are divided between you and your partner. It could just as well be your hand as their hand. So that's the first thing. Just because the opponents have opened, it's not necessarily their hand. The second thing is, even if they have opened and it's not your hand, you would like to make it difficult for them to find out where they actually belong. You don't want to make it easy just for them to sit back and bid. When you don't have competitive bidding, the bidding that we've been doing up until this point, where it's just you and your partner bidding, it's easier. You may not like that word easier, but it is easier to find where you and your partner belong if no one is interfering. So that's a second reason we want to do it. We want to be able to describe our hand and we want to be able to interfere with what the opponents are doing. And there's a third reason to get into the bidding when we can, and that's even if we don't think we're interfering very much, and even if we don't have that much to say about our hand, we give partner an idea of what to lead. If we are not going to wind up with the bidding, we can at least be giving our partner some clues about how we might defend this hand. So that's another reason that we overcall when we can overcall. So I'm going to go to the handout, which I sent everybody. That we looked over last week, where we're going to talk about competitive bidding. And there's two types of competitive bidding on this page. The one we're talking about today, the overcalls, and the one that we're going to talk about on next Wednesday, the takeout doubles. So let's focus on the first part of this, the overcalls. And an overcall, as we've been saying, just means that the opener, somebody else has opened the bidding. Somebody on the opposite side has opened the bidding. And so you are overcalling, you are making a bid that is over what they have already bid. That's an overcall. That's all it means, is that you are open the bidding for your side, but somebody else has already opened the bidding. That's an overcall. By the way, we should think about this, that once the opponents have opened the bidding, all of the rules that we've talked about so far change. And there's only two things that you can do to further the bidding once the opponents have opened the bidding. One is an overcall, the other is a takeout double. You have to do one of those two things. You can no longer just open the bidding as you would before. Our rules are going to change, and we need to do one of these two things: the overcall, which we're talking about today, or the takeout double, which you're going to learn next week. Now that these new rules apply, you can no longer bid like if opponents bid one diamond and you bid one heart. That one heart does not mean 13 points and 5 hearts the way it would be if the opponents didn't bid one diamond and you just opened one heart. So we need to remember that as we're going forward, that the rules are changing if you are getting into the bidding after someone else has bid. So the first thing is the overcall. To overcall, that is just to bid a new suit after the opponents have bid something, you need to have two requirements. One is a 5-card good suit, a good 5-card suit. And we talked about when we learned preemptive bidding last week, we talked about what a good suit is, or actually before last we covered preemptive bidding. A good suit is 2 of the top 3 or 3 of the top 5 cards in the suit. So out of the ace through the 10, you have 2 of the top 3, 2 of the ace through the queen, or 3 of the ace through the 10. That's what a good suit is. So you have to have a good suit to overcall. If they bid one diamond and you bid one heart, you're promising a good suit, 2 of the top 3 or 3 of the top 5. If the opponents had not opened one diamond and you just bid one heart, your heart suit can be any 5-card suit. It's not a requirement that it be good. But when it's an overcall, when you are choosing to bid after the opponents have opened the bidding, your one heart bid or any bid has to be a good 5-card suit at least, 5-card suit. It also needs to be in a certain range. And the range is 8 to 16 high card points. So the good news is that you can get in the bidding with a lot less than an opening hand. You only need 8 points to overcall. It's not really an opening hand. It is an overcall hand. So you only need 8 points. But you can't have too many points in overcall. You can't have more than 16 points and make an overcall. If you have 17 or more points, you will do a takeout double. And the takeout doubles we're going to discuss in our next class. So today we're going to be talking about overcalls. Opponents have opened. You bid a suit. The suit is a good suit, at least 5 cards, and you've got between 8 and 16 points. That is an overcall. Now, if that's at the 1 level, if you have to overcall at the 2 level, and that would be something like the opponent's open 1 spade, and you want to overcall 2 hearts, then you need to have more points. It needs to be closer to an opening hand. 11 or 12 points will do. But it needs to be closer to an opening hand if you were going to overcall at the 2 level, because your partner to respond is going to easily be pushed up to the 3 level. You don't want to get up there too quick when you are overcalling till you see what your partner's got. So if you have to overcall at the 2 level, it needs to be a little stronger. The overcall at the 1 level can be just 8 points. You can also overcall 1 no trump. And that means about the same thing as it does if you bid 1 no trump. If you open 1 no trump, no one else has bid, you open 1 no trump, you've got 15 to 17 points, and you have a balanced hand, no more than 1 doubleton. Well, an overcall of 1 no trump, they've bid 1 of something, say 1 diamond, you bid 1 no trump, it's about the same. It's 15 to 18. a little bit higher, 15 to 18. And it still needs to be a balanced hand, but there's another requirement, and that is that you need to have stoppers in the opponent's suit. So whatever the opponent's bid, and you're overcalling one no trump, you need to have an ace in their suit, or a king and another little one, or a queen and a couple of little ones, a way that you can keep them from running that suit. You're telling your partner, I have a no trump hand, and you don't have to worry about the suit that they set. Now that's different than a regular no trump, as in a regular opening no trump, you don't have to have all the suits stopped. And in this one, you don't have to have all the suits stopped, but you do have to have what the opponent's bid stopped. It's promising your partner that you've got that. So you can overcall a no trump. It's 15 to 18 instead of 15 to 17, a little bit higher. And you're promising a stopper in the bid suit. So that's an overcall. The overcalls just themselves are kind of simple. The opponents have bid a suit, you bid another suit. Your suit is now not an opening hand for your team. It is an overcall. An overcall, different rules. It requires a 5-card suit, and it requires 18 to 16 points. You can have 8, you don't have to have 13, but you can't have more than 16. 17 or more, we'll do something else that we'll learn soon. So that's the overcall. That's the bid that you make after the opponents have bid. Now, what do you do if you want to respond to your partner's overcall? These rules are changing a little bit too, and we call these advances rather than a response. When partner has opened the bidding and you are going to bid, then that's a response. But when partner has overcalled and you want to respond to him, it's called an advance. Same thing, just a different term we use for it. It's responding to an overcall. It's called a different name, advance, but it's the same thing, although the rules change for it. So the first thing is, this is one we already know. With 0 to 6, you pass. You pass. Same thing as in regular bidding. If we don't have 6 or more points, actually it should be 0 to 5. With 6 or more points, we'll bid. But with 0 to 6, we're going 0 to 5, 0 to 6, we're going to pass. Now, if you do not have support for your partner, they have bid a 5-card suit. If you don't have at least 3 cards in the suit, now you just bid as usual. So we might have a bid something like the opponents opened 1 diamond, our partner opened 1 heart, promising at least 8 points and a good heart suit. Next person passes. It comes to us, and we don't have 3 hearts. We don't have support for our partner's hearts. We've only got 1 or 2 hearts. But we can now bid just as we could if partner had opened the hand regularly. And so if we have 4 spades, we can bid a spade. That's just regular responses that you've already learned. So without support, you just do your regular responses. But you need to keep in mind that partner only promised 8 points when they bid. So you need to be remembering that when you're adding their points to your points to figure out how high up the bidding ladder you need to be. You need to remember they just promised 8. So when you make your first bid, you need to be thinking, I need to hear more from my partner before I decide how high we need to go. If partner had opened the bidding, you'd know he had 13, but he overcalled. He might just have 8. So just go ahead and make your bid. But when you get ready to make your second bid, you wait to hear and think about what his bid was before you decide how high you need to be. Okay, so that's if you don't have support. Now, if you do have support, here's what we're going to do. Your bids are divided into 2 categories if you actually had support for the overcall that your partner made. So if you have 7 to 9 points you are going to raise your partner's suit, but you are not going to raise it the way we raise a regular opening call. If partner opened a regular one heart opening bid, you would bid, if you had support, if you had like 6 to 9 points, you would bid 2 hearts. If you had 10 to 12 points, you would bid 3 hearts. Remember, we call that a limit raise. So partner opens 1 heart, we bid 2 hearts, 6 to 9. We bid 3 hearts, 10 to 12. So you show more points by raising either 1 level or 2 levels. For an overcall, we change that. For an overcall, when partner is overcalled, if you have 7 to 9 points, you are going to raise your partner's suit using what we call the law of total tricks. Now, you can look up the law of total tricks if you'd like to. It's a long, involved explanation that has to do with if you have a fit, the way the cards are distributed when you deal out the cards. If somebody has an 8-card fit, the other people also have an 8-card fit. And the law of total tricks, after you go through all of the statistical analysis of this, tells us that you are safe to bid to the level that you have trump between you. So if you have 8 trump between you, you are safe to bid to the 2 level. You have 8. 6 plus 2 is 8 tricks. That is the 2 level of bidding. Okay? This says safe to bid to that level. That doesn't mean you necessarily make it, but it means that you will not go down so many that you won't do better than letting the opponents bid in the suit that they have a fit in. So that's why we do this. When we're talking about competitive bidding here, and it means that you want to stay in the bidding and not get too high, but get high enough that the opponents have to strain to bid what they're going to bid to. So if you have 7 to 9 points, that's a minimum level of support, you are going to raise partner's suit, and you were going to raise it to the 2 level if you have 3-card support. You're going to raise it to the 3 level if you have 4-card support, because he's got 5, you've got 4, that's 9, that's the 3 level. If you have 5-card support and he has 5, that's 10 cards between you, you raise to the 4 level. 4 and 6 is 10. That's the 4 level of bridge. So if you have support for partner, you raise his suit, and you raise it based on the number of cards you have in the suit to 2, 3, or 4. Again, does not mean you expect to make the bid. It means that you should be safe to bid to that level because you won't go down too much. So you should be safe to bid to that level. And now if opponents want to bid, they have to bid higher than that level. So you've cut the bidding out for them. So that's the first thing. Any raise of your partner's suit is weak. It shows 7 to 9. Shows support and 7 to 9 points. If you are strong, if you have 10 points or more, then you are going to Q bid in opponent's suit. So in that case, it would be like the opponent's bid 1 diamond, your partner bid 1 spade. You've got 10 points and 3 spades. So it's gone 1 diamond, 1 spade, pass. You bid 2 diamonds. You Q bid the opponent's suit. A Q bid is used a lot in bridge. You'll find that as you go on in bridge, you'll find other times that you Q bid. There's never a reason to bid an opponent's suit. Slightly, you might be interested if they have bid 1 club and you have a really good club suit, you might think about bidding clubs, but you can't because they've bid clubs. But that's the only time you might even think you would want to play in clubs, is because a club bid could mean like 3. You really don't have a suit. But if the opponents have opened a heart, a spade, or a diamond, for sure, you're never going to want to bid their suit because the best you could hope for is a bad split, especially if they've bid hearts or spades. They've got five. So what if you've got five or six? Your partner doesn't have any. Even if you've got five and your partner has three, you've got a terrible fit. So you would never want to bid a suit the opponents have started. That's why a Q bid can mean something else. If you bid the opponent's suit, you're like waving a flag at partner going, hey, obviously this doesn't mean that suit, it means something else. And in the case of a response to an overcall, it means at least 10 points plus support for your partner's suit. So that is overcalls. For an overcall, to have an overcall when the opponents have started, you need to have a good 5-card suit, and you need to have between 8 and 16 points. You can overcall a no trump, which means you've got 15 to 18 points and stoppers in the opponent's suit. If your partner has overcalled, the opponents have started, your partner overcalled, then you make an advance, just a regular advance if you don't have support. But if you do have support, with minimum support, 7 to 9, you raise using the law of total tricks. And with 10 points or more, you Q bid the opponent's suit. That tells partner that you've got 10 points and support for his suit. Now, what he does after you have made one of these two bids is he's going to decide what level he needs to be at. If you've had 7 to 9 points, and so you've raised his suit, if he's got 8 points and 8 points only, he's just going to pass. He's not going to bid again. If he had a real suit, a real good hand, like he had 15 or 16 points, and you show that raise, he's probably going to bid again, raising your bid again. So it could be something like 1 diamond, 1 heart, pass, 2 hearts, pass, 3 hearts. 3 hearts says, I've got a pretty good hand. Do you have 9 points? If you got 9 points, I've got 15 or 16, we might have a game. But usually he just passes after you raise to the appropriate level. Now, if you have said 10 or more points, if you have Q bid in the opponent's suit, he now knows what to expect of your hand, that you've got at least 10 points. Remember, he cannot have 17 or more points because he would have done something else other than Q bid, other than overcall. So if he has 15 or 16 points with your 10 points, he is going to bid game. If he does not have that much, if he had 8 points and 8 points only, he's just going to rebid the suit because he can't leave you in the opponent's suit. He's got to bid again if you Q bid. But if he has only 8 points, will make a minimum bid. If he's got a little bit more range, he may go up a level, but he's always going to leave it to you to decide about where you need to be, unless he's got the 15 or 16 points where he knows you've got game. Now, you've probably learned after we've been gotten this far in the class that the first couple of bids, the first bid you make and the first bid your partner makes, and usually the second bid that you make, can kind of be described by our rules for bidding. But after that, you need to be thinking about, what did his bid mean? What do I have? How high do we belong? Where do we belong? You're making those decisions, and you have to make those decisions based on logic, not on rules that you learn for the first couple of bids. And this is certainly true in the competitive bidding world where you're using overcalls and takeout doubles. Okay, your head is probably spinning now. Let's look at some examples of how this works. And I'm going to be going to your course book to look at that. And we discovered in class last week that we've got two different versions of this book floating around out there. This book, the competitive bidding book, was revised last year. And last year we started using the new version for this class. But we had to order new books for this class when you guys started. And what they sent us, we found out last Wednesday, was the old version of the material. Now, there's not that many changes. The old book you have is a perfectly good book. There's a few revisions and stuff, but basically what you've got, if you've got the old book, is fine. But you can find out from looking inside the cover. If you have one of the new books, inside the cover says 2023. The old books show a 2005 publication date on them. Also, on the new books, they say updated edition on them. The old books don't say updated edition on them. So you may have an old book or a new book. If you have the new book, where we're going to be looking is on page 68. 68, if you have one of the 2023 updated editions, page 68. If you are looking at one of the older books, it's on page 76, but the examples are the same. Excuse me. They have taken some of the examples in the old book out of the new book. So actually the old book has more examples for you to look at than the new book does. So there's some good things about the old books, some good things about the new book. But like I said, really either one of the books is perfectly good for your use. It is a good description and overview of competitive bidding. So you shouldn't be too unhappy if you've got the old, and you shouldn't feel too lucky that you have the new. They're just different versions of the same material. Okay, so we're going to look at the first example on page 68 or 76, A. And in this example, the opponents have opened one heart. And you have a hand there that has 12 high card points with one extra for length and spades. And you are going to overcall that one spade. You're in between 8 and 16 points. You've got a nice hand. You've got a hand that you would have opened one spade. And so the fact that the opponents have opened, you can still bid one spade with that hand, but it is an overcall. And it only promises 8 points, and it limits itself to 16 points rather than the 13 to 21 points a normal opening bid of one spade would mean. This one spade bid is somewhere between 8 and 16 and promises a good 5-card suit. And you definitely have a good 5-card suit there. The next example, here you've got 13 high card points and you've got a 6-card diamond suit. So you've got actually 15 points counted here, 13 high card points and 2 for the length. The opponents have opened one heart. You were going to overcall 2 diamonds. Now this 2 diamond bid, because you've overcalled at the 2 level, no longer promises just 8 points. It's probably closer to 11 or 12. And in this case, it's actually 15. So if you overcall at the 2 level, your partner should expect more points than just 8. But you would bid 2 diamonds with that hand. The next example, C on the page, you have got a 5-card spade suit, and you only have 8 high card points. But look at the spade suit. The spade suit has the ace, jack, 10 of spades. That is 3 of the top 5. So it is a good enough suit to overcall. So you would overcall 1 spade. The opponents bid 1 heart. You would bid 1 spade with that hand. Let's go on to the next one, D on the page. In this case, you have 9 high card points and a 5-card club suit. But the 5-card club suit is just headed by the queen. So there's a few things wrong here for you trying to overcall. You would have to overcall at the 2 level, and you only have 9 points. The club suit is not good enough to overcall. Doesn't have 2 of the top 3 or 3 of the top 5. So you're just going to pass. You're going to pass with that hand. The next hand, you have 14 high card points. You've got 5 diamonds and 5 clubs. So you are definitely going to want to overcall here. And if you look at the club and the diamond suit, both of the suits are good enough to overcall each individually, because you've got the ace, queen, jack of clubs, the ace, queen, 10 of diamonds. So either one of them are good enough to be an overcall bid. But we need to go back to remember in the earlier part of our class, we talked about if you have equal length suits, if they're 5-5, you bid the higher. If they're 4-4, you would bid the lower. Well, in this case of 2 equal length 5-card suits, they're both qualified to be overcalls. You will bid the diamond. So that hand, you would bid 2 diamonds, not 2 clubs. The next one, F. Here we have 13 high card points. We have a beautiful heart suit, the ace, king, jack, 10, 8 of hearts. But remember, the opponents opened hearts. We've got their heart suit. So we can't bid hearts, and we have nothing else to overcall. And sometimes we might bid a no trump when we have the opponent's suit stopped, but we don't have the right number of points to bid no trump here. So we just have to pass. Now think about this. This is a hand that you would have opened 1 heart if you had been able to bid first. But the opponents bid first and they opened 1 heart. You now have nothing to bid with this opening hand. So you pass. You would pass that hand with the beautiful heart suit, but you're just going to get to smile to yourself and think they're going to have trouble playing those hearts if they wind up bidding hearts. The next example is G. Here we have 16 high card points. We do not have a good 5-card suit, but we do have a balanced no trump hand with 16 points. So we can bid no trump if we have a stopper in the opponent's suit. If we bid no trump here, we're promising a stopper. Well, in hearts, we have the king, queen, 9. So that is a stopper in the suit. It's probably 2 stoppers in the suit, or it could be, but it's at least 1. So you can bid 1 no trump with that hand. That's what you should do, 1 no trump. The next example, H. Here you've got 8 high card points and a 6-card spade suit. The opponents have opened 1 heart, so you can overcall. You have a good spade suit. You have at least 8 points. But to bid to the 2 level, we kind of are promising closer to an opening hand. We could bid 1 spade here, but what we'd like to do is bid 2 spades. Now, why would we bid 2 spades with this hand? If we bid 1 spade with this hand, we're promising that we have about 8 points and we have a good 5-card suit. Okay, so that would be a description, and it does fit this hand. So we could bid 1 spade. But if we bid 2 spades, that is a preemptive 2 spade bid. And as we learned in our preemptive class, a preemptive 2 spade, a preemptive bid at the 2 level, means 6 cards and a good suit and less than opening hand. Well, we have all of those things. We have less than opening hand, we have a good spade suit, and we have 6 in the suit. So it's a more descriptive bid to bid 2 spades than 1 spade. 1 spade is not wrong, but it's not the best bid you can make. 2 spades is the best bid you can make because it's more descriptive. The last example, in this section is the opponents have opened one heart, and you have 7 high card points and a 7-card club suit. So you've got 7 high card points plus 3 for length and clubs. That's about 10 points. So you're actually a little weak to bid 2 clubs because you've got about 10 points. You probably want 11 or 12 to bid 2 clubs, but you've got a good descriptive bid of 3 clubs. 3 clubs is a more descriptive bid. It is a preemptive 3 club bid. It means you've got at least 7 clubs, a good club suit, 2 of the top 3, 3 of the top 5, and less than an opening hand. Because it says all of that is true, we'll bid 3 clubs here with this hand. Okay, at the bottom of this page, there's some other examples. In this case, the opponents opened a spade, your partner passed, then East bid 2 diamonds. So the opponents so far have bid 1 spade, pass, 2 diamonds. Now it's your turn to bid. With the first example there, you have a nice heart suit. You've got 5 hearts. You've got 9 high card points and 1 extra for length. So you could consider bidding 2 hearts, but you would have to bid at the 2 level because the bidding has gone 1 spade, 2 diamonds. You now would have to bid 2 hearts. You don't have quite enough to bid that at the 2 level. Remember, we need closer to an opening hand, 11 or 12 points at least. We've only got 10 points here. The second example, it's close to the same hand, but now you've got 13 high card points and a very good heart suit. And so now you can say 2 hearts. Now you can say 2 hearts. Then we look at the last example on the page. In this case, you have 10 high card points and a 7-card club suit. So you are going to bid 3 clubs. Now notice in this situation, 3 clubs is not a preemptive bid. The bidding has gone 1 spade, pass, 2 diamonds, 3 clubs. I'm just bidding the next bid up the line. So that means I have an opening hand and at least 5 clubs. That's all it promises, even though you've got 7 here. You were just making an overcall, and an overcall just promises, since we're this high, it promises an opening hand for sure, but it only promises 5 in the suit. Okay, so those are basically the overcalls, when you overcall and what you need to have to overcall. So the next part of the quiz, the next page over, page 70, or in the other book, it's page 77, I believe. 77 in the old book. Now your partner has overcalled, and we want to figure out what you're going to bid. So in this case, the opponents bid 1 diamond. Your partner overcalled 1 heart, pass by the opponents. Now it's your turn to bid. Partner overcalled 1 heart. So we'll look at the first example. In this case, you have 3 high card points and a 5-card spade suit and 1 heart. So you have nothing to say. You're going to pass. You only have 3 points, so you don't want to bid. If you wanted to try to bid 1 spade, your suit is not very good and you don't have enough points. So this is just a pass. Just pass. The next one, B, here you have 7 high card points plus 1 for length, and you have 3 hearts. Your partner has open hearts, has overcalled hearts, and you have support for hearts. So good. So we are going to be in this section of our handout with the 3-card support. We have support. So are we at a minimum? Are we strong? Well, we only have 7 high card points here. Plus, we get to revalue our hand for dummy points, just as we learned earlier in class. And here we do have a doubleton. We have a doubleton in spades, so we can add 1 extra point for that. So we've got 7 high card points plus 1 for the doubleton. So we are in the minimum category. So here we're just going to raise our partner's suit using the law of total tricks. The law of total tricks says that we add the 3 that we have to the 5 that he has, and that's 8. So we bid to the 2 level. So you're going to bid 2 hearts with this hand. We'll go on to the next hand, C. In this case, we have 4 hearts and 5 high card points. Well, 5 high card points is not enough to bid, but remember, we get to revalue your hand using dummy points. And in this case, we have a singleton, 1 spade, and we get to add 3 points for a singleton. So we've got 5 high card points in this case, plus 3 for the singleton. That's 8 points. So we are in, and with our 4-card support, we are in this minimum category where we're going to raise our partner's suit using the law of total tricks. In this case, we have 4. Our partner had 5. That's a total of 9 trump between us. 9 trump is the 3 level of bidding. 6 plus 3. 3 level of bidding. So in this case, we're going to bid 3 hearts. Before we bid 2 hearts when we just had 3. Now we bid 3 hearts when we have 4-card support. The next example, partner has overcalled 1 heart. Now we have 3 high card points only. That's all we have, 1 king in our hand. But we are void in clubs. We have no clubs. So we get to add 5 points for a void, 5 points to the 3 points for the king. That puts us in the 7 to the 9 card category, the minimum category for raising. And we have 5 in the suit. Their 5 plus our 5 is 10. That's game level. That's 4. So we are going to bid 4 hearts with that hand. 4 hearts. Now, do we think we're going to make 4 hearts? Probably not. Probably not. Because remember, partner has at most 16 points. He can't overcall with 17 or more points. So his overcall of 1 heart promises he doesn't have a giant hand. He's got at the most 16 points, and he might have 8 points. And we've only got 3 points ourselves, but not having a club is as good, it's actually better than having an ace. But still, we don't have many high card points between us. We know that, okay? We have less than half the points in the deck, high card point wise. But the law of total tricks tells us that we're going to be better to bid 4 and cut them out of the bidding than let them find how high they belong in whatever suit that they have. So we're going to bid 4 hearts with this, expecting to go down 1 or 2, maybe more. But that's okay. We don't mind. I need you to remind yourself that you don't mind going down. If you're not going down sometimes, you're not bidding high enough. And you know what happens when you go down, right? Somebody reshuffles and you play another hand. That's what happens. You lost some points on that hand. Who cares? You move on. You were going to lose points anyway on that hand. If you let them bid whatever they're going to bid, 2 spades, 3 spades, whatever they wind up at, they're going to get points for that. So you were going to lose points anyway. The question is, can we lose less points by keeping them from finding their best place to play? That's the whole point of competitive bidding. Can we lose less points by bidding ourselves than letting them get all the points they can bid by bidding unimpeded? Okay, the next one, here we have 10 high card points plus one for the extra length in clubs. And we do have a fit for our partner's hearts. Remember, the bidding is gone. One diamond, one heart, pass. My turn to bid. I've got 11 points and support for my partner's hearts. So I am going to Q bid because I'm down here in the second part. I've got the strong response now. So I'm going to bid 2 diamonds. They bid diamonds. I'm going to bid 2 diamonds. Notice what that does. It takes up the 2 level away from them. If they want to rebid their diamonds, they now have to bid 3 diamonds. So it takes up a level of bidding for them. So I will bid 3 diamonds with that hand because I've got 10 points. The next example, F, again, I have support for partner and I have 13 high card points this time. I'm still going to bid 2 diamonds. You need to remember that although I have 13 points, and ordinarily in our bidding so far in this class, we've been saying an opening hand versus an opening hand is a game. So if partner had opened his 1 heart bid and I've got support and 13 points, I'm going to think we've got a game. We should be playing at 4 hearts. But remember, partner's overcall of 1 heart could be 8 points. We very well do not have a game. It could be 16 points. We could have a game. Could be 12 or 13 points. We would have a game. But if he's at the low end, we don't have a game with the 13 points that you have. So we just bid 2 diamonds and wait to hear what partner's going to say. Okay, now the next 3 examples that are in the old book, if you're looking at the old book, there are 3 examples that are in the same category of responses. Those are omitted in the new book. Those are not there. So I'm dropping down to the bottom of the page now. That's all that's in the new book. In the old book, go to the next set. There's 9 examples in the first section. There's only 6 in the first section in the new book. So skip the last 3 in the first section in the old book. Drop down to the bottom of the page. And in this situation, we have opened 1 spade. The opponent's the opponent's opened 1 club. 1 club over here. I bid a spade, overcall. The next people pass. My partner bid 2 spades and then pass. So I'm going to look at these hands and decide what I should do next. I was an overcall originally, and partner raised my suit. Now, what do I know about my partner's 2 spade bid? Well, he's got 7 to 9 points and 3 spades. That's what I know. When I bid 1 spade and he bid 2 spades, he's in the 7 to 9 category. He's got a minimum hand, and he promised 3 card support, exactly 3 cards. So with this hand now that I'm looking at, I've got 9 high card points plus 1 for length. Well, I'm going to pass. We have at the most 18 points between us. We don't even have half the points in the deck. So best we pass right now. So I'm going to pass. The next hand, I've got a 6 card spade suit, and I've got 15 high card points. So I am really doing pretty well here. So I'm going to bid 3 spades. Now, if partner has 9 points, I've got a chance to make 4 spades, and he might bid 4 spades if he's got 9 points. But another thing I have going for me is I also know the law of total tricks, and I know that the law of total tricks tells us we are safe to bid to the level we have trump between us. Well, He told me he had exactly three when he bid two spades. I've got six myself. So 6 and 3 is 9. I'm safe to bid to the next level, even if he only has 7 points. So I'm going to bid 3 spades with that hand. I'm going to raise my bid. So in this case, it would have started 1 club, 1 spade, pass, 2 spades, pass, 3 spades. And I'm saying to partner, we're okay at the 3 level. Can you go to the 4 level? The last one is interesting. I've got 16 high card points here, plus 2 for length. I am at the very top of what I can have to bid overcall 1 spade. Remember, I'm an overcaller. Opponent started 1 club. I overcalled 1 spade. Well, with this hand is so strong, 16 high card points. If I'd had 1 more point, I could not have overcalled. I would have had to do something else. So I am at the maximum of what I could have. And I've got a singleton heart. And while I can't really add dummy points for that because I'm not going to be dummy, it is valuable that they can't cash hearts. I don't have to worry about losers in hearts. So with this hand, this last hand on the page, I'm going to bid 4 spades. My partner said he has a minimum hand, 7 to 9. He's only got 3, but I am so strong that I'm just going to raise to 4 spades. Could I be a little bit short? Well, if he's got 17 points, if he's got 7 points, the minimum, and my 16 points, yeah, that's a little short, but I do have 2 extra for length because I have 6 in the suit, and it's a good bet to go ahead and try 4 spades. Okay, now I'm going to the last page. And in the last page, on the last page here, it starts out the same in both books. So on the last page, the opponents have opened 1 diamond over here. I've overcalled 1 spade, pass. My partner has bid 2 diamonds. 2 diamonds. Well, what do we know about that 2 diamond bid? He's got 10 points and support for my spades. So what am I going to do next for my next bid? And I have to do something, right? Because I can't pass 2 diamonds. I can't leave him in my opponent's suit. So 1 diamond, 1 spade, pass, 2 diamonds by partner, pass, back to me. With this first hand, I only have 9 high card points plus 1 for length. So I'm going to just make the minimum bid. The fact that he has 10 points, great, but I've only got 9. So I need to tell him that. I need to say, I was at the lower end of my bid. Don't expect anything else from me. So I'm just going to bid 2 spades. So it was 1 diamond, 1 spade, pass, 2 diamonds, pass, 2 spades. Minimum hand, partner. 8 to maybe 10 or 11. That's it. The next hand, here I've got 13 high card points plus 2 for length. And I've got 6 spades. Again, partner bid 2 diamonds, telling me he's got at least 10 points. I'm at about 15 points. So I'm going to bid 3 spades. I'm going to say, partner, I don't have quite enough to go to 4 on my own. But with your 10 points and mine, we're close. Do you have more than 10 points or did you have only 10 points? So the bidding is one diamond, 1 spade, pass, 2 diamonds, pass, 3 spades. Encouraging. 3 spades. I can nearly do it, partner, but not quite. If you've got some extra, bid 4. Otherwise, he'll just pass at 3. The very last hand, we've got 13 high card points plus 2 for length because I've got 2 5-card suits here. So the bidding again has gone 1 spade, pass, 2 diamonds. Sorry, 1 diamond to start, 1 spade, pass, two diamonds, pass. And now I need to decide what to bid. Well, I can bid the same thing I bid before, which is three spades, which encourages him to bid four if he's got more than 10. But I can give him more information about my hand and say the same thing by bidding three clubs. Three clubs says, partner, I've got extra. I was not a minimum hand, and I have another suit, the club suit. See how I have five cards in that suit? Ace, king, jack. That's a really good suit on its own. So three clubs is a better bid here because it gives more information to partner. If I say three spades, it's not wrong. I'm still encouraging. I'm still telling him, I've got extra points. Go on if you want. But it's always good if you have a more descriptive bid that doesn't confuse partner, a more descriptive bid, make that bid. And in this case, even though we've agreed on spades, I can say the same thing. I've got extra points and I've got another suit by bidding three clubs. So that's what makes that the better bid. Three spades is okay. Three clubs, better bid. Then the last three on the page, and I think the pages are the same in both books. Oh, wait, no. There's some examples that are omitted at the bottom of the page, but the next set is the same. So in the next set of questions, the opponents have opened a club. I overcalled a heart, pass. Partner bid one spade. What do we know about that one spade bid? Well, when partner does not raise my hand, when he doesn't raise my suit, he bids a new suit of his own. That means he does not have support. He does not have support for me. Because if he had support, minimum support, he'd raise using the law of total tricks. Strong hand, 10 or more, he would have Q bid. He did not do that. He bid one spade. So that means he's got at least 6 points. He's got at least four spades. That's all that means. It's just a regular response to an opening bid, but promises no support. He has no support. So with the first example here, I have 8 points. I barely had enough to bid on my own, to overcall on my own. And I don't have anything else to bid. He has probably got 5 rather than 4. The reason for that is if you were going to bid a suit, you want to try to bid a suit that has at least as many as the suit you know your partner already bid. So I promised 5. He's probably got 5 or a good 4. So I really have nothing else to bid here. Partner is telling me I do not have support for your hearts. I can't bid anything else. So what am I going to do with this hand? Pass. A new suit by the responder is not forcing in the case of an overcall. It is forcing in our regular bidding we've learned before, but it's not forcing in this situation. Now, I will tell you, some people play this as forcing, but that's a partnership agreement. So as the beginning level, I would play it as not forcing. You can pass because you are at a very minimum. So just pass on that hand. An alternate bid on that hand could be one no trump, because it just says I didn't have anything extra and I don't have anything else to bid. Well, it's probably too weak. I take it back. It's probably too weak for one no trump. You only have 8 points. So just pass. The next one, we had 12 high card points plus 1 for length. Our partner has bid a spade. Remember, it's gone 1 club, 1 heart, pass, 1 spade, pass. Now it's our bid. Well, we do have extra points here. We still don't really have points support for partner. We've only got 3. So the bid we need to make here is 1 no trump. The book calls for 2 spades. Two spades is an okay bid. You might be playing in a 4-3 fit, but that's not the worst thing in the world. You've at least got more than they've got. And like I said before, he's more inclined to bid a spade if he has five than if he has just four. If he has four and points, he'll probably bid. He might have five and not many points. So, but you've got points. So either one no trump or two spades here would be a good bid. In the last example, or the still on the top line for the old book people, but the last example for the new book people, you have 14 high card points plus one for length. The bidding has gone. Remember, they opened a club. I bid a heart, pass, one spade by my partner, pass. Well, I only have one spade. I only have one spade, but I've got 14 high card points plus an extra point for length. And I've got a pretty good diamond suit, four cards with the ace, queen, jack. So I'm going to bid two diamonds in this case. I don't like bidding no trump with a singleton, because if he doesn't have a good spade suit and I've just got a singleton, we could be in real trouble in spades. So we could be too short in spades. So I give him an alternative because I've got points. Now, if I didn't have many points, I would just pass his spade bid or even maybe bid two hearts because that would say I had six, not five. But what can you do? Sometimes hands just don't fit. So you try to make the best decision you can. But in this case, you had a good overcall, a lot of points, and you've got a second suit. You've got those diamonds. So you should bid two diamonds. Okay, so that is overcalls. Things to remember about overcalls: 8, low as 8, but not more than 16. Good 5-card suit. And in responding, if you have support, you either show minimum support by using law of total tricks to raise your partner to a certain level, the correct level, or you Q bid to show 10 or more points. In our class next week, this coming week, we're going to learn takeout doubles, and we'll put these two things together, the overcalls and the takeout doubles, which make the full, complete set of bidding for competing after the opponents have opened. All right, so that's it for today. I'll see you guys on Wednesday.